call in, and then come fight for dragon.
Yep. And I mean, taking a quick look up at the top side, much better game from Dreadful so far. Even on CS, we got the early back, the early wave crash in. So much more even footing there. Gonna have to see how they scale into the late game.
Yep, and we do have the Iron Spike. Probably looking for a Stride Breaker here. That's usually the normal build for Olaf, which is huge for his movement speed. Um, Obviously with Olaf, why I talk about Dreadful being so nice as we walk up on Dragon here, with the little back that they had, with Trine's back that they did, opened up a little bit for Zaxxer to walk in, kind of get this first drag here, really uncontested. But talking about Olaf, right, with that Stride Breaker build that you have, it really pays off for an aggressive fight, right? Because you pop that Stride Breaker, you pop Olaf R, you become unstoppable, you get that movement speed, you get that attack speed, and now you're even faster. So you just run people down. And I think that it works out great for Dreadful because Dreadful is really good at picking up targets. He's really good at focusing on someone. He's really good at finding people. So kind of just figuring out where to play this can be really helpful.
Yeah. Looks like our stream was lagging a little bit. Not sure what's going on with it right now, but
Sorry about that, folks.
could be a problem on Twitch's end because I'm not sure what's going wrong here, but looks like we are back up. So hopefully all the viewers out there can hear
Yeah.
us.
Our like 50 million viewers that are watching right now are just lagging Twitch servers.
Hey,
So
I mean,
I'm not complaining.
it was 7.
I'm
something
hey,
that
I
so.
I am not complaining. I am not complaining. But Twitch always fun to play with. But I
Yep.
mean, you're gonna see Maokai centering up on that Rift Herald here. With Zaxxer kind of pathing bot side. Really just a little bit of a stalemate here. We talked about the Airy, we talked about the runes. The phase rush on the Maokai going jungle is pretty useful because you're able to hit that WQ auto and you get that speed to just run right back out of the fight.
And it looks like Trine might be going for early Rift Herald take here, or is that up yet?
Yep, Rift Herald was just taken by Maokai. So just going quick for it. Pretty good trade for them. I mean, if you're gonna lose that dragon, you have to set up for that rift. So being able to take that there did make it, maybe not the same, but it did make it worth it at least. Evening out the lead.
Yep.
But
And we'll have to, see where Project Chrono ends up using that here.
I mean, we talked about a couple of missteps that did happen in that last game with Valpo Esports and Blind kind of taking advantage, or trying to taking advantage of that. But obviously, the downside of Valpo now playing it a lot safer and playing smarter is that you're not going to see as many fights. It's not going to be as fun. But
Yep.
I mean,
We had that early engage and then completely calmed down. Both teams
Yep.
are like, okay, a little bit of different strategy on Trine, but, agree to just farm up, chill out, and take our time here.
yep, like, hey, you got us. Looks like a flash from Ordinal there. Might just be a little bit angry at someone. Maybe just angry at Steamroller. Maybe a little bit of trolling. Not sure what's going on there, but
Could have always been a misclick.
it
too.
could have been a misclick. Yeah, of course. Just a little bit of a funny little flash. Couple of question mark pings coming from Trine as well, which are warranted. Don't get it twisted. But no, it's just a little bit funny. Zaxxer looking for a knock up here. A lot of burst damage going down, but Victor Duke is getting under. Oh, the R almost landing there. We're going to see maybe if Syndra steps back up, but not looks like it.
Nope.
Probably just needs it. But
Victor's just
Maokai,
gonna have to back and
Maokai is engaging right now on this Zaxxer in the jungle. A little bit of a just kind of pokey jungle fight. I mean, Zaxxer does enough damage to negate the Maokai tank, but Maokai tank does take a while to kill. So Maokai does get a lot of attacks off. Really nobody taking a lead there in that fight, especially considering that they have literally the same components built, except for, a red ward.
Yeah,
instead
and
of a potion. So
Zaxter's not afraid to take those fights. He
yep,
definitely wants to, be the aggressive one, be the one to engage, and J4 is a really good pick to do that. I mean, you want to talk a little bit about his kit and his
yeah.
ability to engage?
Of course. So, I mean, J4's common thing is that he has a very wide range on his E. We have an engage here with the Maokai sitting in there. The Maokai are coming in. Flash also as well. Tom Kench being thrown, but Ari and Ordinal as well saving him. And that's just going to be enough MF Shikimbo. And there's the R from Ordinal almost taking down one of them here. Another engage as well on Zaxter. The R coming up, Zaxter getting really, really low. The flash coming from Magic Gryphon on Ordinal. A ton of burst, and there's the kill going to Victor on the second half of his E. And that's a huge shot, but the block by MF Jakimbo on the Caitlyn secures that it's not going to be a one kill. Huge Q from Magic Gryphon, but he will go down for this. So another 1-for-1. That fight just going a 2-for-1 in Trine's favor. I mean,
Man,
couple of plays there. Valpo did get out really nicely with the shield from Ordinal. Maybe a little bit late of an engage, but still not the worst one in the world. Still going 2-for-1. Not a bad fight. Goldie's still being even with
yeah.
about only a
I
.2
mean,
difference here.
that fight could have been a lot worse. A
Yep.
lot of members of Valpo very low there, and it was a fight that both teams wanted to win. Rotating 4 members down to that bot side, and comes out fairly even.
Yep. I
So
think the hardest part was that fight did lead to them losing first tower, which is a lot of gold, but still within range, right? Only a .6 difference. But I mean, talking about J Core's kit, we saw a little bit of it there too as well. A lot of his ganking ability comes from the wide range on his E. He's able to place down this beacon, right? And the beacon gives him an attack speed and shield buff, right? Or it gives him attack speed, sorry. But a pull from Nautilus, just a little bit of a roaming Nautilus. Ton of damage from MF Chikimbo being able to throw in it. Maybe a W here as well. There's the R getting the kill, kind of overstaying his welcome there in mid lane, and that's going to give him a
my
little bit of a lead.
goodness, we talked about how powerful the Syndra is after buffs, and how good Jakimbo is on it, but we see that range we were talking about in the pregame right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a fun lane to be a part of. I'm gonna be honest. That is definitely a frustrating lane. But seeing that Nautilus go down, they are gonna have that advantage in that bot side, using that to take that Ocean Drake.
And we also talked about how Magic Gryphon, highest ranked member on Trine, one of their best performing, and here we have him at 0-3 to start the game. So
Yep.
really good job by Valpo, kind of shutting down that support.
Definitely. I mean, we've seen that he is forcing to be aggressive in a less tanky. I feel like Nautilus is a great player right now, right? Nautilus is a great champion, but I feel like Tom Kench is the better champion as of right now, right? So forcing him to kind of play that same role in a different category is being a little bit tough, because with the change up of champions on Valpo Esports' side, his team is kind of having a hard time adjusting to it. But overall, like you said, I mean, great start for Valpo.
Yep, and we didn't totally touch on it, but also picking up that second Drake. So
Yep. No, that is a 2-0 lead for Dragon, which is huge. I mean, we're going to see coming up here, it is going to be Hextech, which is actually big. Almost hitting that center arm. May have been a kill there if they did hit that. And then what we have to watch out here for.
And I mean, we talked about the Syndra. We can take a peek at her now.
Yep, 64 stacks, so that means that she does have an evolved ability. She gets her stacks at 40, 60, 80, and 100, right? So 40 Q, 60 W, 80 E, right? That's usually the process that you want to go with, because you want to get your better abilities first, right? And then 100 would be the R. So she does have 2 of her abilities stacked right now. So she is getting up there. I was gonna say though, it's starting to get dangerous, especially for both teams. Victor with Ludens and Sork Boots is never fun, but same for Syndra with Ludens and Sork Boots. I mean, we're just gonna have to see how this kind of shapes out. Top lane, they're definitely being a little bit of a funny time. Rift Herald being summoned mid, just trying to get any shots that they can off on it. One dash and not really being able to get much there as they're forced to back here. Uh,
Also, good by Valpo to pick up that Herald. You know, they were kind of zoning Trine out, and they were able to pick up that objective. So,
of
you know,
course.
they now have gotten 3 of the 4 major objectives so far this game, which is, you know, a big help. Something they did not get last game.
Of course. So they are definitely playing this really, really well right now. I mean, like I said, I have a lot of confidence for this Valpo team. Because as critical as I am sometimes of their games, I am just as much on their side, and I am just as much as positive for them coming into this next game. Because for this reason right here, right? Their ability to adapt is huge, and I think we're seeing that right now because they're taking their comfort picks. They're taking the ones that they know they can win on. They're taking the fights that they know they can win now, and it's showing out because they are even in this gold lead. But then we talk objectives. They are 2 drags up. While they are a tower down, they are 2 drags, and that's going to give them that scaling comp that they need for especially this Senna and the Syndra. And I mean, one person that we don't talk about a lot that also scales out a little bit is Olaf. Um, he's not the hyper carry scale that you think he is, right? He's a lot better mid game than he is maybe in that late game, but in that late game he becomes very, very dangerous because his Qs start to hit like trucks. The armor pen that he gets off of his Q matches really, really well with the true damage that he gets from his E, and it becomes a very, very dangerous game to play against him. But I mean,
Yep.
fighting up, we did have because we lost that first bot tower. Valpo's gonna be forced to switch here. But I mean,
Still
looking at it,
just, you know, kind of a slow game. You know,
yep,
not a ton happening here the past few minutes, and it kind of feels like you're just building up for that next dragon here
of
almost.
course, yep. And I mean, building up for that next drive, we have seen that Maokai be active a little bit on this field and be a little bit more successful than Zaxter, but Zaxter still has a bit of a gold advantage right now, because we're considering the stopwatch rune that he took, right? That value that he got from that, being able to stay even by getting a lead in CS here, is pretty huge because he's on level no matter the kills that he gets, and because his laners are doing well, he's not losing out on much here. He's able to play this game and still be in it for his team, be on level. So I think if we look at KD, really isn't doing this game justice because they've just been playing a different kind of match. Um, I mean, it is pretty huge. We are looking at a bot lane, Tom Kent, or we are looking at least a full item plus boot against a support for.
Here it is.
Yep.
4 members on our side, I think, in the mid lane here. So, kind of grouping up, kind of waiting.
Mhm.
Should see some action soon, and it looks like Trine is going to, you know, have the advantage, have control over the river here right now.
I think this is kind of working out in Valpo's favor right now because obviously you see the 3 people on that side, but you got a fresh reset from both Jakimbo and Victor. Victor being forced out of a flash, same with Jakimbo being a flash on him, but kind of losing that bot lane priority with that wave going to push into red tower. It's going to be infinitely harder for them to, or not infinitely harder, sorry, that's an exaggeration, but just being harder for them to pressure onto this drag here.
Yep, and we're just seeing, you know, the dance back and forth, neither one wanting to fully engage yet.
And there's the flash with the Maokai, the R and the W coming in, being able to hit this Olaf. Olaf R coming out, being CC immune. The Victor R coming out as well, doing a ton of damage, but Dread getting caught out. Jarvan being able to hit that backline R, hit 3 huge, which sets up Syndra to hit a massive W. Another dive in on Tom Kent as well. Magic Gryphon going down to Steamroller with the Chilling Smite on him. Huge play from Valpo, and that's what we were looking for. Really, I mean, they did engage. It wasn't a bad engage by Trine with the Maokai W and R, but huge backline R from Zaxter. He hit 3 of them. And with the 3 of them, that allowed Syndra to literally not have to think. You don't have to turn, you can turn your brain off, hit Q, W, E, whatever you want, spam that, and the amount of damage just chunked him. That was huge for Valpo Esports, especially taking this lead here, not only with the 2K gold lead that they have, but the 3 drags as well, being able to go into this Hextech Soul. Amazing fight on their team.
Yep.
And
And I mean, honestly, I think we saw Valpo working together there better than they did at any point in game one. I mean,
Exactly.
it seemed like the team comp really came together. You know, we saw the Olaf, CC immune,
Mhm.
able to get that damage down. We saw the Syndra, the huge range, the huge damage, and also Zaxter engaging. It was like everyone worked together, and then also the knock up of the top catch towards the end there to
Yep.
get the full
No,
wipe.
that
So,
that chase as well to stop that ace, not being able to claim that gold really and just clear up any confusion about who's getting that Drake. Um, yeah. No, the team play was great there, honestly. It was fun to watch because it obviously was coordinated, like you said. I mean, game one, we saw a little bit of discoordination, a little bit of just kind of funneling, but I mean, not anymore, right? They were willing, they were all in that fight. The setup that they had from that bot lane, winning a little bit of that fight, right, with the Syndra killing kills. Um,
speaking of the Syndra, let's take a quick
yeah,
look here again.
94 stacks, and there's a couple of damage here. I mean, there's a kill, right? That's one burst. There's no fighting with that Victor. There's nothing he can do there if you get hit by that stun,
Man,
because
if there's one person on this Valpo roster you do not want to give the lead to,
it's MF Jakimbo.
it's Jakimbo.
It's MF Jakimbo.
And here
And
we are, 5-1, 550 gold bounty. It's 600 now, and it's gonna be tough for Trine the way this guy plays when he's
I
ahead.
mean, if anybody at home right now is playing Valpo Esports League of Legends Bingo, we have the Zaxter with no kills but every assist in the game. We have the Senna Tompkins winning, and we have the MF Chikimbo fed, right? I mean, that we are missing the Dreadful getting a triple kill this game, right? If Dreadful gets a triple kill somewhere in the bot lane, we are hitting the Valpo Esports Bingo, and there's a reason for that. And hey, I'm not complaining if we do, right? We are in a great spot if we are winning that bingo. Um, but I mean, setting up right now, if we're talking about blind kind of getting this lead, right? Usually we talk about gold leads, and 4K is nothing to be laughed at, right? But it's also nothing that's winning this game right now. I think that it's the objectives here that we were talking about that were so big for Valpo. Taking those dragons, taking those barons, or not barons, sorry, but taking those dragons, being able to trade one for one with the Rift Herald.
Yep. And I mean, they're gonna look for the Baron next. Probably we saw them, clearing out vision around the pit, and
Yep. And I mean, if we if we look at here, I really don't think Syndra is going to be. And now that she has our execute right, because I don't see any engages here going on. If we could switch the camera really quick to Syndra in this bot lane, as people kind of farm up a little bit, as getting that recall off, and there's 100 stacks right there. As we
and there's another kill.
exactly, yep. As we click on her, baiting the recall, just trying to wait for the stun right there. I
And I
think.
mean, he's probably gonna have death cap at the next pack, right?
Yep. Yep. No, we were at 98 until we hit 100 right there in that fight. So that fight, he didn't even have his R, he didn't have the execute. Just like pure damage. That's how
Yep.
Syndra rocks.
You kill the Victor, you get the man advantage. Now you can take Baron. It's all
Literally.
coming together for Valpo.
Literally. I mean, looking pretty great. They're in a great spot right now. They switched up their comp, they switched up what they wanted to do. And it's looking great right now that Senna Tompkins gave him that early lead bot lane, that Syndra is now fed. Just, man, it's fun to see him back in action. It's fun to see him back working as a team, especially, avoiding that mental boom that usually happens in that game one when not like, not so much like just when you lose, but at a loss where you know that there are things that you could do better, right? Seeing them not freak out about that, seeing them come back in this game and take this lead. Obviously, game's not over yet, right? But they are playing with a very, very comfortable spot.
Yep. I mean, it feels like they completely flipped the script from game one, flipping some champions too,
Mhm.
and then also flipping, the game state, the position they're in. But, we talked about it. Game one, this is Valpo's strength, is, being able to adapt, learn what they did in game one, how they can improve, and, how Trine plays. So, like I
Mhm.
said, not strangers to reverse sweeps, and I mean, they're gonna be hoping for one here. They got a big lead to close this one out, and then it'll be on to game three, right?
Of course, yep. And I mean, we are taking drag here. This will be soul point for Hextech Soul. They are willing to give up a little bit of like CS and everything, but this is just perfect for Valpo Esports' comp at this moment because seeing that Syndra Hextech is nasty. It's scary. It's scary to say the least. But I mean, talking about game three, just as we talked about game two from game one, um, what Trine is looking for right now is more bans, right? Obviously, this kind of comeback in game two does not secure anything in game three because if I'm Trine, hey, bye bye Senec Tom Kench, right? Bye bye one of them, right?
I
Bye bye
mean,
that
honestly, what I'm looking at is the Syndra.
is the
I mean,
Syndra.
the
Yep.
Syndra has been on the winning side in both of these games. You
hmm
know, I feel like it's at the point where it's either going to be banned or it's going to be first ban.
And I think with the oh, we have a huge engage here as well. Jarvan being able to hit another multi-man ult as well with the Senna following up too. Olaf just running in, popping his ult, being a funny little guy, being able to dump in, and that's gonna be a team wipe with the Baron ult, and that's gonna be game. Um, I mean another great fight. Jarvan, 8 assists, no kills. Zaxter game. What did we expect? But huge, two huge ults in both of those fights, being able to solo him out, and that's really insane.
Yep.
Overall,
Closing it
amazing
out,
game.
27 minutes, you know, getting the soul, getting the Baron,
Yep,
just everything fall
really,
Valpo's way that game.
really, really great for what they were looking for there. I mean, we're talking damage charts. I'm expecting the Syndra to be up there, and there it is. Most damage in the game, right? Almost close to doubling, like 2K off of doubling their most damage. Um, And we kind of expected that seeing the lead on MF Chikimbo, but like you said, I'm honestly I'm looking to go into this next game. Valpo played that amazingly well, but going into this next game, I'm expecting one of the Senna or the Tom Kench to get banned, and I'm expecting the Syndra to get banned because quite frankly, I don't think that Trine can waste a first pick on Syndra right now, knowing that Valpo can pick something else other than that Silas, right? I don't think they want to take that chance of a blind pick. I think you take that, you ban that instead of maybe the Lilia, instead of the Aatrox, one of those, because Aatrox did recently get a huge nerf, if people don't know. The patch that they are playing on right now, Aatrox got a 20% healing nerf, and healing was his best thing. So I think that you maybe give up the Aatrox ban, even though Dreadful is nasty on Aatrox. I think that you give that up for a Syndra ban.
Yep,
But
and I mean that was Trine's first ban both games, I
mhm,
believe. So I mean it'll be interesting to see if they stick with that because it's certainly something they don't want to face.
of
And I
course.
mean on Valpo's side, I mean, do you think we just run back the same three bans yet again for game three?
I think we do now. Obviously we found something that's comfortable for Valpo, right? We switch. I mean, if we take a look really quick at the bands that we had, um, we did switch up. We didn't want that Kled top lane, like you said, right? We didn't want that Trundle jungle. A lot of like damage that they had were taken away from the lanes rather than the champions that were picked. So I think that they found they're comfortable on who we want to play around, who like we don't like giving picks, who we like giving picks to. So I think that Valpo's in a good spot here.
And I mean the interesting thing too is going to be side. We see that they're going to opt for blue side here. Trine will be taking blue side in
Yep,
the
they
third
do want
game.
that first pick. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they do want that first pick Syndra. I mean, that's gonna be the fun part of this is maybe they do first pick that Syndra, which honestly, like you said, it wouldn't be surprising. I wouldn't do it, but
I
they
mean,
definitely have a plan for it
I
if
feel
they
like they
do.
have to do something with it.
Exactly.
If they're not gonna first pick it, I wouldn't be surprised if Trine bans it away from MF
Yep.
Kimbo.
I agree. I agree. And I mean, obviously, I'm sitting up in the caster's booth. Oh, I would do this. I would do that, right? I you gotta trust these teams at one point to know what they're picking here. And I think either if they ban it or if they pick it, it is a better thing than just leaving that Syndra on the board for Valpo, especially if they want this blue side. So
Yeah, and I mean, you know, we saw last game too, Trine also banning away that Talia. I mean, do you think there's a chance that we see a three ban away from Jakimbo here?
hmm I think that okay. So it's interesting that they maybe would three ban Kimbo because he has been the hyper carry in a majority of their games that they play, right? I think the issue with three banning Jakimbo in the first phase is that you give bot lane too much, right?
Yeah.
Because we've seen that not, I mean, obviously numbers don't lie. Jakimbo's gonna carry with like damage and everything.
Yes.
That's what control mages do in mid lane. If you're not dropping 20k damage in a long game, I don't know what you're doing as a control mage, right?
Uh-huh.
But you can't give too much leeway to your bot lane. If you're gonna three ban him, that opens a Senna Tahm Kench, unless you're going to draft the Tahm Kench earlier than the Senna, because with taking blue side, right, it's they're left in a dilemma where if they ban three ban Jakimbo,
Hmm.
they either have to leave Syndra on the board or they have to ban Syndra, right? Which opens up Senna Tahm Kench. So it's either you give them Senna Tahm, you give them Syndra, or you don't three ban Jakimbo. And that's a very, very hard spot for Trine Esports to be in
I
right
mean,
now.
if we're making predictions, based upon what we're saying here, I feel like Trine's got to take away the Syndra, the Talia, and maybe the Senna. So,
I agree with you because I think that if you take away that Syndra, if you take away the Talia, and if you take away that Senna,
hmm,
that gives Tom Kench back to Gryphon that we were looking at earlier. That his Tom Kench is nasty, right?
yeah,
I mean, it gives it back to him. It opens up more spots for people to counter pick, right? And it leaves. It's better to put Valpo Esports in a blind pick spot where we don't know if this guy counters or not in game three, right? It's better to give them an unknown pick outside of giving them something that they know, and I think that's the best setup for them.
yeah. And I mean, the other thing I'm looking for, on the side of Trine is if they're still going to trust that Caitlyn. It went really well for them in game one, but didn't quite convert in game two. So are you going back to it? Are you sticking with the Caitlyn for all three games?
So I think honestly, we should stick with the Caitlyn. Um, I think that the Caitlyn is really important to ward away that MF pick, especially like if we're talking about banning that Senna out, right?
Hmm.
MF just as viable as a pick, right? Caitlyn is a good counter into that, right? You want to keep that Caitlyn available because if I'm thinking right now, what other ADC really are we looking for here? I mean, if we take maybe like what I can see here is that if they do maybe get rid of that Caitlyn, first pick MF. Like you have to pick MF faster than
Yeah.
right. It's just like it's quick hand. It's the draw, right? You kind of have to take that chance. So I mean, it's a very
Yeah.
high risk, high reward with not going with that Caitlyn, but I think that it's better to focus on other champions because the Caitlyn has not been bad in these games, right? It's really hard to protect her sometimes, especially in these engage heavy teams that Valpo is running. And you can see those early kills going from the Caitlyn, right? But just as much of a risk as it is fighting that, it's as much of a reward.
Yep. So it'll be very interesting to see these picks, but we're going to take a quick break until they are ready for game three draft. We'll see you shortly.
Sounds great.
All
And we're
right.
back, ladies and gentlemen.
And it,
Looks like. Oh, sorry.
no, no, you're good. I was
Sorry
gonna
about
say
that.
we're
Uh,
back. We're gonna cut it to the draft here. Yes, that's the word.
Yep,
I'm
there
losing
we go.
it.
No, you're fine. I cut you off like twice. It's a little bit of a scuff start here, but we're kicking back into gear now. Going into this draft, we still see the Aatrox and the Talia ban, um, which means that they're probably going to go for that first pick Syndra. Um, Valpo going probably with their usual Yumi bans.
Yep.
Um,
There's the Seraphine, and then probably going to be the Karma to round it out. We see the Talia. So then this will be interesting, and it is
and
going to
there's
be
the
the
Tom
Kench.
Kench.
Okay.
Okay. So they did knock out one of that bot lane, right? Forcing Steamroller to play something else, right?
Yeah. So I
Also,
mean, what do you think the first pick? Do you think it is going to be the Syndra here for Trine that they're aiming for?
I do think that this first pick is going to be Cinder because they did opt to ban one of their bot sides, right? Which gives them a little bit more of a comfort. But Valpo Esports coming with the Cinder ban, kind of throwing in a little bit of a wrench. Um, you see Trine taking a little bit longer to pick. I feel like they pick pretty quick usually on this first one, but
And they're gonna pick the J4. Man,
they're
we are switching picks yet again.
try I mean, Valpo and Trine are kind of having like a little bit of a like brotherly fight almost. It's like, no, I do it better, like kind of poking each other here.
Uh-huh.
Like, I
I
mean,
mean,
seeing this J4 and then seeing the Syndra ban as well, that makes it interesting because now it's like, all right, Valpo, what are we thinking? And there's the Caitlyn
there's the
swap.
Caitlyn.
We are having like a brotherly fight here, right?
We're,
It's just like I'm gonna pick this guy, you pick this guy, right? And we're just gonna fight each other. But
and I mean, these second and third picks for Trine are going to be really interesting because, game one and two, we banned the Karma. It's now open. Is
yep,
it time for Magic Dragon to pull that out?
yep. And I think they're gonna wait to maybe pick this Karma after this choice here because they may just pick bot lane out immediately with Valpo. But
Valpo taking a long time on this pick.
and we're gonna see the Lilia jungle for Zaxter. I mean, seeing the J4 picked, kind of taking a chance. Trine did give up a jungle ban in order to drop that Tom Kenshin. So, seeing the Lilia, right? Um,
I mean, yeah, like we talked about it, those are kind of Zaxter's top two picks, so
yep.
not super surprising. It was even banned by Trine last time. So now we're gonna have to see what Trine is taking here, running on the clock again.
And there's the Jhin pick. Okay. Um, well, I'm not actually very familiar. I haven't seen many Jhin into Caitlyn picks. So obviously trying maybe going with a comfort pick here. The Orianna coming out. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Um,
I feel like this is a bit of a combo. You can quote me if I'm wrong, but
what's up?
with the Jin and Orianna, I feel like that's a bot lane duo I've seen, pick together before that works together well.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm interested in is it going to be the Orianna mid or the Orianna support? Orianna support is now coming into shine. Oh, please do it. Please pick the Ziggs. Yes, yes.
Oh,
We are
this is
seeing
gonna be a
we are
good
seeing the
game
MF
three.
Jakimbo Ziggs come out. One of my favorite things to watch because it requires no brain. All it requires is damn good skill shots, and that is what MF Jakimbo does. I mean, granted, it takes a little bit of brain. I'm exaggerating here, right? He still has to think where he is, but
And I don't know if we've seen this yet in league play from
we
him.
have we have not seen it in league play yet. We've seen it in a couple of the NECC matches, right? And we've seen it in the scrims. But watching Emma Jacimbo play Ziggs is one of my favorite pastimes. I will put that down on a hobby list because he either throws some nasty, insane combos with his Q, or he just AFK farms and takes towers until you lose. Um, Valpo, I mean, sorry, we got a little bit carried away here
No,
because.
it's okay. But, I mean, these bans from Valpo as well, really, really good. Able to
Mhm,
take away that karma that we were worried about, and that Kled that caused them problems in game one. So
yep.
I'm really, really solid bans. And then Trine didn't like the way Dreadful used that Olaf against them, so they're gonna get rid of that, and we're gonna see what their final ban is.
I mean, it was tough because we have to give it credit to Dreadful here. He really just he played really well, especially compared to like the first game. He made that correction. He was able to go into that game with his pick that he wanted. And it shows here. I mean, they got to ban it out. He made their top laner invalid because Nar, if he doesn't get that lead, it's really hard to find like situations for him. While usually Nar is a great lane bully, Olaf's a better lane bully. So now they're gonna ban that out. They're probably looking for a Nar pick here. Uh,
But we'd see the Alistar
scratch what
coming
I
out.
said.
It's just pick after pick in this
Yep.
draft. This
I
has been
mean,
entertaining,
this is
man.
this is a fun draft, I have to say. I mean, because think about okay, we have the Alistar which engages for Caitlyn, right? Caitlyn, whenever you pick that for your ADC, you always want a melee engage tank as your support. You always want it, right? Maybe not melee, but you need a tank engage support. Alistar's great for that. Um, but in order to back off, you need somebody with range, and Trine is gonna go with that Morgana Jhin. Morgana Jhin is a very, very strong combo because with Morgana Q, then you throw Morgana Q, Morgana W, then you throw Jhin W, which is his stun, his root, right? And then you throw his trap underneath, and that's a lot of damage already on one target, right? So it's a good combo, but we're gonna have to see how Valpo Esports plays this, and we might see a Wukong top here. Nope, there's the Urgot. Okay, I was more expecting the Urgot. I didn't say it, but Urgot is pretty good into the Malphite, especially with displacing him. Just kind of a change up of a little bit of range, being able to chip at that Malphite walking backwards, because Malphite isn't exactly the fastest champ in the world. So if Urgot's able to just kind of kite him around a little bit with his shots,
Yeah.
um,
And I
works.
mean, this is a really, really fun draft. I think we're seeing, different picks from all five, all 10 players actually in this game.
Hmm.
And, we're seeing a lot of these champs come out for the very first time. And, the first time in the week for us for some of these. So it's going to be really, really interesting. Which pick are you most excited for here?
I mean obviously I talked about the Ziggs so much that would be cheating if I said the Ziggs wasn't my favorite pick. But I mean if we're not talking mid lane, I'm really interested to see this Lilia in jungle. I mean I've seen Zaxter play Lilia in jungle, and Lilia is known for literally just like getting at too many kills almost, right? Um, Not even just like kills, but damage is insane on Lilia because you build that Leandries plus her passive of everything burning, um, you're racking up 40k by like 20 minutes. It's nasty. So, um, kind of watching this comp, right? Looking at this kind of matchups that we have, I'm most interested in seeing the Lilia jungle. I'm most excited to watch the Ziggs mid, right? Which I feel bad for Trine because not saying like, oh man, he's so good at Ziggs, right? Like, which he is, but Ziggs is not a fun champ to play against,
Yeah.
right? We talk about this in the league community. Whenever you face a Ziggs mid, you can just kind of expect to not have fun that game because you will never see him on screen.
Yeah.
His Q will be thrown from literally like light years away. He will Kobe that all the way across from like Raptors, hit you, chip you for half your health. He'll walk up, throw an E, bounce you back in, kill you, whatever, right? And you didn't even see him half that time. So it's gonna be fun just kind of seeing how he zones himself, especially in these fights. But I mean, we are as they take their little picks here. We are gonna leave this cam on just so you can see kind of where the picks are. But we are gonna go to a slight break here, um, just until we pick back up because game three, it's shaping out to be interesting.
You're duller than a broken sandwich.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Picking up with the commentary again. 3 seconds left into the spectator delay. We talked about the funny picks, obviously. We talked about the Ziggs mid. We talked about just kind of overall what we are looking for from these kind of comps. But going into these summoners like spells and runes, Ziggs is kind of just an off put here, right? Going with the teleport, kind of expected. Um, Man, I'm speechless. I'm speechless with this draft, really. I
I
keep
mean, there's just so many crazy picks, so many fun new champions that we haven't seen before, and
You will not find this in the LCS, and I love that because these are just picks that everybody's going insane. Looks like we have a little bit of color combination on Valpo's side as well. Same, same for same for Trine too. So the skin diff is definitely not here this game. All signs are showing just an even fight right now, and I love it. Valpo just opting for a 5 point, but the flash and the root hitting from Magic Gryphon and the stun as well. Dreadful are having this blow flash there. Um,
oh man, they looked for it bot side in game 2, but this time, they try to invade top side and they do get a little bit of a reward for it.
I think honestly that one's on Magic Gryphon. Not saying that's bad on Magic Gryphon. That was good on Magic Gryphon because if I'm dreadful in that situation, I'm not expecting him to flash Q immediately. I'm looking for a walk up in Q, right? He was playing with the range a little bit, but I mean the flash Q was just enough to get it, and then the Jin W as well. Jin's starting W. That's gonna be a little bit hard for him to lane here now. He doesn't have his like area of effect Q that usually you get. One of my favorite things playing Jin bot lane is that you ever leash, right? You come back to your lane, you land one Q, first 3 minions gone, don't miss a CS, right? That's what usually happens. So he does not have that option right now. And before MF Jakimbo can really get the mana lead that he needs, he's gonna be forced to trade with this Orianna by stepping up here. But I mean, we're just gonna have to see how this works out. There is no flash on Dreadful, so we can kind of expect Jarvan to clear this side, path up top side, try and get a little bit of a kill here. Dreadful just staying out of his form.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about, Magic Gryphon, and for good reason, but, I feel like this Morgana pick gives him the biggest chance to be, impactful, doing that damage, and, making his biggest Morgana game of these 3 games.
Oh yeah. No, Morgana's always really funny because she is, well, like in lore, she's the Queen of Death. In League of Legends community, she's the Queen of kill stealing, right? Morgana will and can steal every single like one of your kills that you get and get really, really fed. But I don't think that Black Magic Gryphon getting the kills here would be a bad option, quite frankly, because he can do just as much damage as really anyone else on this team right now.
And, talk a little bit about, Morgana's kit. I don't think this is something we've seen yet this season, so,
Oh, of course. So with Morgana's kit, obviously she has 3 abilities. Her Q is that root that we talk about, right? It's famous because it roots for 2.5 seconds, right? Almost 3 seconds, goes up with more points in your Q that you put in upgrades. Her W is a large area that she plants like poison on almost, right? It does magic damage over time. And then her E gives a spell shield to any one of her targets or herself that blocks the first like CC or just overall like magic stunning damage that you can take. So it's good against like heavy engage. So like Alistar, a little bit, just kind of some touches here in this jungle. Both junglers pathing to this bot side. Um, as we saw that W right there from Morgana, good at zoning. Really, really good at zoning, especially with this Morgana running Comet. Any W that hits will guarantee a Comet almost like landing. So that's extra damage along with the W. Then later in the game when you stack that with Leandri's Burn procs off of that W as well. It procs off the Q. It's a really, really good combo to run. So it allows for a lot of damage. You saw right there another Comet proc with the W.
Overall, very quiet early game. And both of our
Very, very
first two
quiet.
games, we'd seen a lot of kills coming in already at this point in the game. So I think both teams are just, trying to play it safe. And oh,
And right as we say that, here's a big engage on Steamroller. Steamroller knowing that he has the Alistar procs up, so he can get that healing the next attack that he has. Magic Gryphon being caught out and getting that kill, but maybe getting out. Nope, the flash coming from both bot lane as Zaxter comes in, trying to even out this fight when Project Chrono also matching. Another hit as well. That's a lot of damage going down on that bot side, but all sums were blown that fight. Oh, he's still getting out. He still got out of that channel.
man.
Pretty big.
So action coming down bot lane yet again. I mean, that's where we've seen it early in all of these games. And this time, first blood over to Valpo. A lot of other players dangerously low, but everyone gets out of there with just the one kill for Ordinal.
It's pretty great, but it looks like they overstayed their welcome as, I mean, Magic Gryphon is back already. And being able to hit that root and then Jin W is enough to secure that kill on Alistar. It's just a little bit of an overstay, but it makes sense because they are down in CS right now. That is the rough part. Being down a little bit on gold with Jin being back in this fight now. It's going to be hard to kind of come back from that. But
Yep, I mean, a 1-for-1 trade, nothing too horrible here. Both ADCs, picking up that first kill.
I mean, pretty pretty boring top side. Not really much that we can expect from an Urgot Malphite, because the smart way that you play into an Urgot as Malphite at least is you have to give a lot, and as we can see from the CS diff, I mean, he is giving a lot, so it's not going to be many engages where Urgot can dive in, not going to be many knockups that Malphite can get.
I mean, I feel like that lane, plays well for both of them, because I've seen Dreadful, be able to pop off, have a huge impact, 1v3 even on this Urgot. And then the Malphites are kind of like the more sitting back, utility, tanky type.
Yep.
So I don't think it's bad for either of them that the Malphite is giving in this lane.
Definitely, no. There's going to be plenty of time to actually scale up in this game before top lane is involved in these fights. But I mean, so top lane, obviously we talked about not really being involved much. Morgana looking for a Q here, not really hitting it. But mid lane also, I don't feel like these guys will really pop off until they get their ultimates and get their timers on, because Orianna doesn't really have much CC. Zaxter coming in for an early gank as well, landing the sweet spot on that shot. The flash and the E as well coming from that, and the R to Dreadful. Really great coordination right there coming from top and jungle, being able to secure that kill there for only one summoner. I mean, I'll always say it, many people will say it, flash for kill is always worth, right? So really well played there. Good gank, good flash, way to make use of it. And just going to give a lot. Now, honestly, like we were talking about how Malphite can kind of give this lead right with the CS, but it's starting to get dangerous.
Yep.
The downside is, though, they did well for that top kill, giving that Urgot that lead. Trine is going to be smart, though, and take this dragon, seeing that their jungle was topside. So they are going to trade top for drag, which, I mean, you can say whatever you want. Personally, I prefer the drag choice on this, right? But giving Urgot, who already has this lead, right, and knowing Dreadful, who likes to be aggressive, it's definitely not going to be a wasted lead. So I feel like this will be good, and taking this Rift Herald for it is going to even out that score a little bit. So
Yep, I mean, like we said, pretty even game. Both teams not wanting to overextend too much, just kind of farming up, and I mean, it's going to be those big team fights that make the real difference here.
Oh, definitely. Dreadful getting another dash in on this Malphite, but you can kind of see just like tickling him a little bit. But Zaxter here with the R on him. It's a 3v1. Oh, okay. Zaxter, at first, like, I didn't think that they would reach the abilities here. A lot of the time what you're looking for there, obviously, first ability that's done will do extra true damage based on when the sleep was. Morgana coming out of the bush with the root on the Ziggs. Ziggs getting pulled back in using the Morgana R, and that's going to be a kill going to Morgana. Really, really nice coordination right there. I was gonna say earlier, Orianna not really having much hard CC outside of when she gets her R, and you saw right there, really well played. But Magic Gryphon kind of overstaying there. Steamroller being able to bunk, but you can just tell that damage that they got with the minions killing. Kind of nasty. Zaxter also trying to go back in for a Q, but Jarvan being able to get that knock up and kind of dash in.
Man, it was a good gank by Valpo top, but then in the mid lane, Trine is able to find the advantage. Valpo not positioned well, or, you know, not expecting the gank to come in, but they do give up 2 kills in the mid lane. And I mean, that's going to be huge for the Orianna now, 3-0 with a big bounty on her.
Yep. I mean, we'll see. Orianna can start doing a lot of damage. She's not a champ that we're used to. She's not going to 100 to 0 you, but the damage that she serves in an area, especially with her Qs and being able to bounce them, along with her E's, just being able to get like a lead for really any of her abilities, really is important for her team. And I feel like we're gonna see that there, that against the Ziggs especially, having more group damage than that is gonna be tough. Ziggs kind of playing up a little bit here. Kind of dangerous with Morgana hovering, being missing in that bot side. As we saw earlier, Morgana being missing that bot side, seeing that jungle bush, being able to throw that Q out, being it done. If we're looking at gold right now, especially, they are tied in gold. And I mean, we see the kill leads, we see the like CS leads that Trine has, but a majority of that gold is on that Urgot, and Urgot with Black Cleaver starting first is smart because that armor pen that you get from Black Cleaver is huge against Malphite, so he's going to be able to start bullying in that lane. I feel like Valpo's win con right now is having that Urgot be able to take that first tower, right? As we can see here, there is a jungle coming up as well.
Yeah, they might want to help out and try and get this tower very quick.
Yep,
here.
they're definitely dropping Rift Herald in this top side here, and there it is. Like I said, trying to get that tower done, because the faster that you get that tower done, faster Urgot can start roaming. You want to free up a little bit of your lane for your team so that they can play and scale up a little bit more, because there is a pretty big CS lead in bot side, right? Which is to be expected with the Morgana, especially like getting a little bit of a lead. That route was a little bit nasty there.
Yep, but I mean, Valpo with the...
Dreadful maybe overstaying his welcome here with Jarvan 4 dropping that R as well, securing that kill, that shutdown, going to Malphite for 450 gold. Pretty big.
Yep, gold lead still slightly in favor of Valpo. They did pick up first turret and first kill, but I mean, getting that shutdown onto Urgot is really big for Trine. This is still a very even game.
MF Jakimbo has to be careful here. I mean, Morgana's missing again. Maybe he's posturing up to come get another mid gank here. But on vision, so seen. I mean, we're gonna have to start being careful now, because she hasn't spent much lane because of the CS lead that they had. They feel very comfortable with taking this, taking around a couple of like roams and such. So really, it's gonna be big on Valpo for seeing who's on the map, who's not. So a couple of pings as well coming from Trine, showing, hey, bot lane's missing, right? See, like that's the vision that we're looking for.
Yep.
Probably setting up for drag here, trying to clear this vision, but there's Morgana route coming out, hitting, just kind of sitting through it. Not really much, obviously, but looks like we're posturing for a 5v5 here.
This could be
getting ready
big.
for this second drag.
They really don't want to give Trine that second dragon. They want to contest for this.
Yep, and I think I agree with this. I mean, it is Mountain Drag, which works really well for both teams, having a little bit of a tankier comp. A couple of Ziggs Qs thrown out. Pretty big hit there. What I'm looking for here, Lilia R is up right now, so maybe a big area of effect here, and getting a couple of huge sleeps can win them this fight. I mean, we saw Zaxter's great at hitting those group damage abilities.
You see Steamroller, you know, lurking up top in that bush.
Yep. And there's the knock up, hitting against the wall, just trying to start off a little bit of an engage. Jarvan 4 knocking in as well. Dreadful being able to jump in, getting a ton of damage on Hairless Clab, and the pull in on the Orianna, getting the shutdown, going to Dreadful. I mean, we're seeing when he starts roaming, it frees up a lot of opportunity, and his Urgot is clean. I do like Dreadful on the Urgot.
That is a huge pick. It's going to give them the opportunity to pick up this Drake, unless Trine tries to look for a steal here.
I think it's a smart idea to pull it out here. A little bit of coordination issue going on, but that, I mean, the dragons are unpredictable. We got spaghetti code in the game right now. Another great knockup by Alistar, maybe sacrificing his life here for a ton of damage. Malphite jumping the back lane as well. Both are flashing in. Zaxter being able to hit, and there's a triple sleep if he can just survive, but he doesn't. the Caitlyn R coming in, but not being able to secure the kill even with the sleep. That's kind of huge that Zaxter went down there because that's going to force them to reset off Dragon. Really just kind of tough there.
Yeah,
Couple
it
of
is
big ults.
unfortunate that, we weren't able to capitalize on the sleep from Zaxter, and we weren't able to secure the dragon either. So definitely, a little awkward. Not what Valpo would have wanted out of that, but not the end of the world either, right?
Yep. I think really the biggest thing that you got out of that was you gave Caitlyn another kill, or you gave Caitlyn the assist to try and catch up with this Jhin, and you gave Dreadful more kills. I mean, you gave Dreadful a little bit more gold. That was really the like one positive out of it.
And I mean, that kill for Trine going over to the Malphite, not the most dangerous person to pick that up either.
Definitely. I think that fight though was because that Malphite played that really well. I mean, that dash into that backline was enough knock up to stop them from focusing on the sleep targets. So we'll have to see like how this Malphite kind of uses that R and plays around it, because that was a pretty good use. Yeah, it looks like we're right back at it again, starting up drag. Only difference now is that I mean we have less ults, right?
We get some
Ziggs
good
ult.
chip damage, and the dragon's down low.
Oh, and the drag does go to Valpo with Project Chrono being able to pull over. Orianna getting the kill, but a kill going to Caitlyn, and the Urgot are over the wall, also securing the kill on Orianna, going for a 2-for-1 and drag for Valpo Esports. Good fight there again. I mean,
Yeah,
now
I'm really loving this Urgot pick from Dreadful. He's having huge impacts, with his ults, with his pull in, Valpo getting a
and
second chance.
a great W by MF Jakimbo, forcing that R out of Malphite again. No, I mean it's a real comeback story that we're talking about here with Dreadful's like games in these kind of series.
Yeah.
Went from like not the hottest game one, which happens, being able to bounce back game 2, do well in the Olaf, game 3, he's becoming the star of the show here.
Yep, and I mean, on that last play, like we said, Valpo not really coordinated, but the first time, but they get a second chance with that Drake, and they're able to come in, secure the Drake, and secure 2 more kills from Dreadful, so they've really gotten back into this.
It looks like they're trying to bait out a little bit. Magic Gryphon hitting that sweeper, being able to stop him. Zaxter starting up on Vision, trying to get them to, hey, come get it. Like, come fight this here. But just the sweeper coming around, stopping from the little jump attack. Project Chrono jumping over the wall with that Jarvan 4. It looks like it's a 3v4 here coming in this lane with Dreadful helping out. Allowing that Orianna trying to farm that bot side.
Yep, and we got Q lights here in chat popping off about Dreadful and how he canceled the Q from J4 in that last fight.
Yep,
so.
that was nasty. No, I mean we'll have to see here. What is Trine going to do to kind of hop back into this game, because the goal lead is not a big deal,
Yeah.
right?
No, it's still very close, very tense, although Valpo has the slight lead. They don't want to, count their chickens before their eggs are
Oh,
hatched,
of course,
so.
no. What I'm looking at here is not so much as gold lead, but who's this gold lead situated on, and it is Urgot and Caitlyn, 2 of the hyper carries of this team, because Ziggs is funny, but Ziggs is not the hyper carry we're used to with MF Jakimbo, right? He throws a lot of abilities, does a lot of damage. He's in the same lane as Orianna, where you see a lot of damage, right? You see a lot of, like, kills, but you're not going to necessarily 100-0 someone unless you're super, super fed. But with Urgot being able to frontline really well, and with Caitlyn starting to get that lead, it can be pretty huge.
Yep. And, just a side note, a little bit of off topic, we got a lot of Valpo esports going on right now, but if anyone's looking for the Smash Bros matchup, that is on Manchester University's channel right now, so check that out there.
Definitely go check that out. Our Smash team is very strong right now. Just really interesting games to watch, so definitely worth a good watch, especially if you're tired of watching the Ziggs throw bombs from off screen. It's a great time. But looks like we have a couple of chips here in this mid lane. Urgot is going to start solo laning now, and this is the dangerous part about giving that top lane fed, is that we talk about team tights, right, being able to open up, but he's done enough opening for his team now, getting Caitlyn that's 2 kills, giving the rest of his team a couple of assists, being able to hop back into this game with the gold. Now he can start solo laning, and when he starts solo laning, that pressure that he puts on forces someone to drag off, And if you're gonna force someone to drag off, right, you're gonna want that Malphite. And without that Malphite, they really don't have much frontline outside of that Jarvan R. So I think that it is a good matchup for here, because you still have the Alistar who's going to start building up that tank, right? With Locket, especially the active ability giving you shield. Um,
Yeah, and I mean, Steamroller's been very impactful on that, with the knockups, 5 assists already, so
mhm.
definitely a key part of these fights.
I have to give credit to Steamroller 14 here. He is keeping up with Griffin when it comes to playing with his team. Obviously, you're going to see Griffin take a little bit more of an kind of just an initiative when fighting these fights, right? But with Steamroller 14 being able to follow up and just take a couple of extra picks, I mean, it's fun watching him.
It looks like we're setting up for another dragon in about 30 seconds here.
Definitely. I mean, is clearing vision, trying to get a little bit of action going on here.
Yep.
Project Chrono diving in. Steamroller 14, another knock up there, glaciating, knowing that Dreadful is nearby. The stun on Project with the Zaxter E not hitting. Dreadful just still full on health, just destroying as Ordinal hits that headshot and E shot. Just melting. Ziggs throwing bombs over wall, kind of zoning out. And this is the situation that you want with that dragon up right now. They're going to be able really to just almost start this right now. Malphite coming down a little bit too late. They're going to be forced to fight this 4v5 here.
And I mean, Dreadful is such a powerful pick just because he has so much HP on top of this damage and this pull in. The Urgot really does everything you want.
I mean, I think Urgot 2 item is insane because you say, right, he's built that Hydra, or he's built that Titanic Hydra and he built that Cleaver, so he has the armor pan that he needs, and the Titanic Hydra is giving him attack damage based off his health, so he's going to become a tanky menace soon. I mean, especially with the armor pen that he has now, that Malphite is hard to match him. Especially with that Jarvan. Jarvan W, I mean, I didn't get to talk about it earlier in the game, got kind of like interrupted by the fights we had, but Jarvan W does give him a shield and armor, right? So that armor pen that you get is really nice, especially fighting on those Jarvans that like to get aggressive and jump in.
Yeah, and I mean, another great point from chat here, pointing out how tough it is to fight in the Trine with, the Malphite R, the J4, EQR, and the Warrior R. Just a lot of tools for Trine. But, I mean, it seems like Valpo, with the Caitlyn, with the Urgot, it's just a lot of damage being able to overcome all that.
Yep. I mean, if we look about it, right, they're definitely right with the CC, like chatters. Definitely insane CC coming from Trine's side, right, with the setups that they have. But also, I mean, if we think about Valpo's side, Urgot can tank through a lot of CC. Obviously, if I'm trying, I try to focus him down here. But he can sit through a lot of CC. Ziggs is a small body, right? Lilia is one of the fastest characters in the game when he starts hitting shots. Caitlyn is always going to be out of your range, right? And, I mean, Alistar's Alistar. He's got a moose skin on, right? But it's definitely harder to combo against this Valpo comp that they have. But if Trine is able to hit those combos, it is super, super deadly.
Yep, and we see, both teams kind of looking towards Baron, clearing out vision. Always that, fight to try and get vision on the map, all the things here.
Couple of wards going down. Looks like we might just be setting up for Baron here.
Yeah. 3 members of Valpo moving up that way.
I mean, this has been a little bit of a slow game, but I mean, the objective fights are really what we're looking for here. I mean, I'm getting LCS flashbacks right now because we're not really having much like lane engagement, but these objective fights are where everything's popping off.
It does kind of feel like a pro match, They're dancing around. They don't want to, give up anything, and not a ton of kills, mostly focusing on these objectives. So definitely, very tense. I think both teams are feeling, the pressure for Game 3. Also, how big of a game this is in the league. Trine is 5-3. We're 6-2. If Trine wins this, they'll jump over us.
Yep.
So that would be a huge move for them. And then, we're obviously fighting for those top 3 spots. And, if we drop another loss, that becomes a lot harder. So huge implications for both teams.
No, I think this is a big matchup right now, and you can really see it with like the level of play that we have here. You talked about it like mirroring a pro match, right? Feeling kind of like that. But I really do agree with you on that because these guys, there's a lot less mistakes this game, I feel like. Not only just from both sides, but really just in when to choose these objectives because the fights themselves are not that strenuous, right? We saw that even though Valpo got the first couple early picks, Trine was able to play it back, even at least stall for a little bit longer, even if that drag did ended up going Valpo's side. Um, they're just like they're choosing their fights really well, and they're choosing when to fight these things really well. So you can kind of just see they care, like they're ready to fight this.
Yeah, I mean, over these past 5 minutes, it's been all about positioning, vision, getting that intel. Where are the enemies? You really don't want to make an engage, make a big play without having that information.
It looks like Jarvan will dash over wall. Morgana also flashing over wall, using it to trying to get a pick. Ordinal being able to flash through the Jarvan R. That is a huge ultimate right there for this fight coming up. Jarvan not having R, and it looks like for them setting up for drag, they are going to sack this Ocean Drake for a little bit of topside push. Maybe getting an inhibitor here? Probably not though. Looking just maybe to recall back.
I mean, they're just going to take the tower, but the dragon isn't even up yet. So Valpo still has time to back and get in here and try and contest this. So.
Definitely, definitely. I'm just looking like, again, like we said, being smart with these pushes. Definitely was, like, yeah, even they out-thought me, or, out-thought me there, I'm sorry. Because they knew what they were doing. Like, I was talking about timing earlier, like, man, they're paying attention so well. Paying attention better than I am because they knew that they could take that tower, they knew they could push that, give it a little bit, and now they're set up for this Drake. A root does come out on Dreadful here, and I mean we saw that Alistar, sorry, we saw the CC chain, but the triple sleep on Zaxter, huge shot on this Jarvan forward, knocking out their jungler for this fight. Dreadful being able to jump to the front line with his E. The Morgana root slowing them down a little bit, but that was the pick they needed to kind of take this here. But a lot of damage going on Zaxter here. The dragon might just kill him with a combination of Orianna. Jeffro flashing over the wall, trying to take a little bit of CC here. Take a little bit of attention as Ordinal stays working on this dragon. Magic Gryphon almost dying here. Steamroller staying in the bush. Root coming out from Jin. Jin is starting to become a little bit dangerous here. Steamroller dumping in, but the shield and then the Zanya stopping the Caitlyn are really well played from Trine, even if Valpo took that early lead with that kill. Dreadful being forced to push out here. Last art sniping, but not doing enough damage to kill.
Man, that fight started off so well for Valpo with the huge sleep coming in from Zaxter, but it really was the Jin on the side of trying to turn it. Two huge roots allowing him to get those picks.
Yeah, I think the Jin on that side being able to do those picks, I think the biggest thing in that fight was definitely the kiting. I mean, we saw that Project Chrono did get caught out, early jungle kill, right? Zaxter going in, immediately starting that dragon, immediately attacking that because of them pushing out. But Magic Gryphon, Polyps, being able to walk in, shoot, walk back, walk in, shoot, walk back was just enough to start getting these Valpo guys anxious, start pressuring them off, like, hey, like, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me, right? Kind of like waving that shot, distracting them just enough so that when it came down to it, they just got out-kited.
Yeah, and I mean, we've said it before, but I'll say it again, man. It's just close, 2 dragons on each side, 9 kills to 8, but still the gold lead for Valpo. So, I mean, it's just close still,
Yep, no, it's very, very close. I mean, we're seeing this kind of this density of gold circulating now really around this Urgot and this Caitlyn, which is not a bad thing, don't get me wrong, but also Ziggs is starting to do Ziggs things, if you haven't noticed already. He is starting to play that kind of I'm just gonna solo lane now, because he has almost a 50k or a 50 CS lead, right, 70 CS lead, sorry. If you notice, he's just been playing these side lanes and taking towers, right? If you viewers didn't know, the W that Ziggs can throw out that knocks people around and can knock himself around can be thrown on towers and detonated for a ton of damage on towers, scaling off of your magic damage, right? So him building Seraphs, right, getting a lot of damage, getting a lot of mana based on your damage as well. is kind of nasty because if he's not in these team fights, he's becoming a liability for Trine on the other side.
Yep. And I mean, you know, we're seeing the pings. We're still seeing the fight over vision for this Baron. You know, once they actually start to contest for that, that is going to be a massive swing in this game. Just because of how close it is, whoever's able to get that Baron will be able to, you know, push so much, gain so much of a lead.
Oh, definitely. But no. Again, like you said, just a little bit of setup. Just trying to clear waves here. Looks like MF Jacumbo will set up for drag here with Ziggs. Or not drag, sorry, Baron here.
Yes.
Just joining his team, but
Steamroller.
Yep. Steamroller jumping in a little bit, just trying to get aggressive here. Taking a couple of wards. Urgot being able to solo lane. Oriana also solo laning, trying to catch up to the Ziggs. It's gonna be a little bit hard at this point with how much wave clear Ziggs has. But a couple of shots.
I mean, Valpo's really gonna have to avoid this CC from Trine because we saw how impactful it was in the last fight. You know, there you go. Ziggs taking another turret as he does.
I mean, that turret wasn't even that low. Like, it was low, but it wasn't like that low. It just took 2 seconds. I mean, this is the part where because as someone that plays with MF Jacumbo, right, this is the part where he just starts smiling at his computer, right? He just starts giggling a little bit because he's having a great time. I mean, he doesn't have to really think. He can play the team fights that he wants. He can be safe, and he can play the towers and solo lane as much as he wants. So, really, it's starting to get funny, I would say.
Dreadful and Malphite just down here in the bot lane, clearing waves, kind of fighting it out. And then the other 4 members still dancing towards that top side. Like we said, just, you know, playing it slow, playing it safe, and, you know, we're at 30 minutes, and man, I can't really give the edge to either of these teams.
This is a really, really close game as of right now. I mean, if we're talking strategy-wise, Valpo, what they're doing right now is they're pushing Dreadful in that bot lane, so that if they ever notice anybody else collapses on him outside of just the Malphite that's matching him, they'll know, hey, we can start Baron now. Like, we have numbers advantage now. We can run Baron because it'll be a 4v3 or a 4v whatever based on how many people peel for Dreadful. That is the danger of giving him that lead. And it looks like with Dragon coming up, their sights are going to change a little bit. Having that wave so pushed in on that bot side is going to give Dreadful help in this team fight, forcing Malphite kind of just move up.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't the most pivotal Dragon because each team only has 2, so it's not going to be the soul for either of them. But, you know, I don't think you want to overextend, you know, too much, right? Like, if you lose the early game, you know, you get chipped down, you might want to just give it, maybe.
And we did get the early flash out of Dreadful there, with Jarvan and them engaging. That's actually going to be huge for this Dragon fight, meaning that he's not going to be able to navigate as well around that pit without his E. A couple of tosses around, another Morgana route. I mean, we kind of expected this, but Magic Rifle has been nailing those all game. And you have to give credit to Populus as well.
Yeah, I mean, on the side of Trine, there is just so much CC. And, you know, on Valpo's side, it's really going to be about that Alistar knock-up and that Lilia sweep. If one of those can hit big, that is our opening, right?
Definitely. And there's a huge, like, Ziggs again. I mean, the thing is, yeah, I was about to say, those Ziggs Qs are not going to stop coming. He's got the ability haste now that he needs. He's got all the, like, damage that he has. He's going to just keep throwing them. But, as we can see, just posturing for a 5v5. Both teams just kind of scared on taking Witch. Trying to give this blue buff to MF Jacumbo so he can keep throwing those Qs out. Alistar trying to get caught out, kind of dragging him a little bit. There goes the Jarvan R. And it looks like this might be a pick on him. But if you notice, Valpo is just trying to start the Dragon, and they slay Dragon while Alistar's getting 1v4'd.
Very, very good job by Steamroller to kind of stall it out. Give them the time to do that.
I mean, he kind of just played the over here, guys, over here. Come on, come on, come on. Raise his hands up.
It looks like
run
Trine
over to
is
the
just going
bush.
to try and burn down this Baron, which would be a big trade in their favor.
They don't expect Valpo Esports doing a good job taking Dragon, but they don't expect them immediately to turn it into Baron. But the issue is Baron has so much health. I mean, we're gonna have a jump in here. We might have a flash over the wall, and there's a steal coming from Zaxter. Baron going to red side as well, and a kill as well. Trading 1 for 1. Another shot coming out and a beautiful trade for Valpo Esports, giving them the advantage in this game. 6K gold lead. Dragon and Baron going to their side. Amazing play coming from Zaxter Jungle. He cannot be stopped right now in this series. I mean, the quick rotation, it was a smart idea by It was a smart idea by trying to start that immediately, right? Because Valpo was not expecting it, obviously, but there was just enough pings and just enough calls for Zaxter to be able to flash over that wall, get that smite, steal that Zanya's as well,
Man.
and just kind of like stay out.
I know that's something that they worked on a lot is, having that timing, having that rotation, being able to take those fights at just the perfect moment. And man, did they ever do it, Steamroller stalling out in the mid lane, sacrifices his life for the dragon. Great trade there. And then just as it looks like Trine's gonna, get the upper hand, get the Baron, huge objective. Masterclass by Zaxter coming in,
Definitely.
stealing that, and
Definitely.
of course Dreadful's there to support it, get a kill as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've been giving Dreadful some love this stream, right? But we really need to. I need to give more love to Zaxter. I mean, as our friend Keloid said in chat, right? We need more love to Zaxter here because he has been balling out this series, especially in Game 2, Game 3. He's been a big key factor in a lot of these fights winning. May not see it on the kill feed, right? May not see it in the actual kills, but the assists, the overall team ults that he's giving to his players, I mean, he's been really a key factor in this.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, not the flashiest, kind of player, but, his support and, the impact he's making outside of kills, has been invaluable. And of course, the Baron steal is just probably the biggest play of this game.
Definitely. And if we see right now, they're just trying to enjoy a huge Malphite R coming in mid and being able to catch the Lilia out, but the Lilia sleep not going off as well. Steamroller probably dying here as well, but Ziggs R coming into the mid. Double kill going to Jin. Huge snipe over helping Dreadful kill out there. The R coming in as well. Huge shield for Dreadful. Getting that kill, trying to dash in. Almost killing Project Chrono, but not being able to pick it. Huge fight, actually, for Trine, being able to even the odds here. But almost a half shot just coming from one headshot. Just one crit headshot coming from Caitlyn. That was a 3-for-1 trade, which is actually insane for Trine here.
I mean, that's not what you want for Valpo. You lost so much in that fight. You gave them the shutdown on their got, and now they're looking to pick off Caitlyn here.
Yeah, it looks like
And you get the
Edgar was kind of
shutdown
just
on the
playing
Caitlyn,
around a little
too.
bit, trying to keep them in, because Emma Jacimbo is sitting in this bot lane. I mean, you can see the damage that he's doing to this tower. He's kind of just solo playing this because, look, they're still organized mid trying to get that tower. Steamroller and Zaxter being back in. A lot of damage coming in from the root, but with Ziggs just able to take that inhibitor. So as much as they got back on the gold lead a little bit from those kills coming mid, Valpo, there's a reason that Ordinal was kind of just dancing around in that mid, just as we all got distracted watching it on the directed cam. So did Trine.
Yeah, I mean, again, really good on these timings, on these rotations. They're recognizing the opportunities they have. They're saying, hey, we're going to lose the fight mid lane, but, we've got MF Jibakimbo. That Ziggs damage. We can get an inhib for this. And just trading back and forth.
I think the biggest, progression I think we've seen this series, especially for Valpo, is their macro. They are playing the long game, right? Obviously, it's very hard to play the long game when you're behind, but when you're playing this team, really, it's super important to know, hey, when can we take this? When can we take this? And we're probably gonna have another dragon fight here. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, it is.
And this would be the soul for Valpo. I mean, if Trine wants to do anything, now is the time to do it.
And their Steamroller again jumping in, but already half the dragon damage being down. The R coming out. We're going to see if we can get a smite here coming from Zaxter. And blue team does take the Drake. Huge jump in and smite as well. A lot of damage going out on that Malphite. The Ziggs are finishing out the Malphite as well. People being forced to back up. Dryfen getting almost slept but killed by that Ziggs. Zaxter being forced, but Jin doing so much damage. Jim's 7-0-5 with a huge CS lead. His gold is insane right now. Nice snipe coming in from Caitlyn, killing that Jarvan. finishing out with a 1 for 3 for Valpo Esports. I mean, and a nice dash in as well on this Jin. Another knockup as well. The flash away and the dash coming from the Gale Force, trying to finish him. Almost getting that last snipe by the Q, but just not enough. A
Man,
couple of pings going down. Obviously, the supers are in base, and Ziggs still alive. I mean, yeah, you have to worry about his wave clear here, because he's just gonna pressure this mid. I mean,
yep. Valpo with a pretty good read, but Trine able to stick
I
around.
mean, there's turret gone. That was a full health turret, and
That
nobody
oh,
touched it but
he
MF
just
Jakimbo.
deleted
That
that.
that's not even fair. This exists in the game. You can just walk like this.
Yeah, pretty big lead for Valpo here, but Trine doing just enough to stick around, prevented that soul point, got a couple picks, and that Jin still able to do some work for him. So
That Jin is very, very scary right now. I mean, I talked about Polyps playing this game really well already, but 7-0-5, 371 CS is huge. I mean, almost 400 CS coming into 40 minutes, right? Close to 10 CS per minute, right? That's huge.
yep,
So if he can just start getting a lot, if his team can set up a little bit better for him now coming into these fights, Trine has a huge chance of coming back in this game. The issue is that with Valpo, it's going to be hard to set up for your team with the lead that Valpo has right now for the rest of their
and
teammates.
you see the pinks coming in. Valpo knows exactly where they're at, and that's what this game has been about, is that information and that vision.
I think we have to worry about here, right? So with Trin, the kind of dynamic that we're looking for in this lane here is that if you check, MF Jakimbo is so dangerous at turrets, but he also has teleport. That's huge. Because now that he has teleport, he's able to teleport on any minion that he wants, right? So Trine is forced to split, or Trine is forced to split and take out these minion waves. So that means that they can't all be there present for team fights, right? If they're splitting for these minion waves, so either they give up a lot of turret damage by splitting for, or by going in these team fights, or they give up these team fights by splitting for turrets. So kind of have to see what Trine prioritizes here
Yeah.
going into
I
these
mean,
last
I think it's
fights.
going to be pretty tough for them, just the way that Valpo is playing this game. So smart and so controlled, it feels like, they are in charge, right? Like, they own the
Definitely.
map.
Yep. I mean, we can see they've been in the jungle. They've been taking vision, clearing vision. They're not afraid to shoot it around a little bit. And it looks like we're gonna have a quick start on Baron here, but here comes Trin. I mean, ready to come in and knock up. Alistar kind of playing that frontline role, trying to get a couple of knockups. The flash in as well, but the Baron going to red side. Jarvan and Malphite trying to get out, but Jarvan going down. Same with this Malphite as well, probably going down as well. Jin getting killed out by Edgar, or by Ordinal as well. On the side, the flash in the dash. Uh, Almost a snipe. Oh my gosh, just the delete after the drowsy snipe.
There's
And
the
that's,
ace and probably the game.
yep, and that's gonna be game for Valpo Esports. I mean, I kind of want to just watch these towers go bye-bye. Yep, I mean, that's 2 towers just gone. Um, Overall, really, really great game 3. That's what we're looking for here from Valpo Esports.
Incredibly close all the way. Well fought by both of them. And 43-minute game, our longest one of the night, I
Yep,
believe.
insanely well played game. I mean, I want to look at 2 stats here coming into this game. I mean, we can check this, right? But man, I wish turret damage. If you could click the advanced details, please, because we see 35k damage on the Jin, right? Obviously. Um, as we wait for this to load, sorry
What
about
do we
that,
want to
folks.
look at here?
If we could check the graphs, please, graph section, right? Um,
Um,
League
Graph's not
client,
working very well.
awesome. Thank you, League client. Thank
Uh-huh.
you.
Let's see. Yep,
Amazing.
it's not working very well.
Yep. Thank you, League.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We'll wait for it to load in a second. But we can notice damage charts wise, we have 35k from the Jin. That Jin was popping off that game, none that we expect. But overall, the damage is just high on Valpo's side. Really, really a lot of just involvement. And it's
Yep.
kind of
And I
what we
mean,
expected.
I gotta point out Steamroller here,
Yep.
15
Yep.
assists. He was making impact all the way around. Mostly sacrifices, but
Hmm.
really good ones. He
No,
was able to stall and make sure we secured those important objectives.
playing those macro sacrifices is huge. I mean, maybe if we check the advanced details now, if this doesn't work, then I give up.
It's not
Okay,
really
I give
working.
up. All
Yeah.
I wanted to see was the turret damage on Ziggs. I mean, I just
You,
wanted to see
you
the
know it's
comparison.
gotta be insane
I
though.
I knew it was up there.
We saw the way he was burning those down at the end. It was just
Definitely.
bang 1 second.
But I mean, overall, really, really great series from Valpo Esports. Really exciting one, honestly. Just what we're really looking for as a esports team. So,
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it. Game one didn't
mhm.
look the best, but that's what they do.
Woo, woo, we
They
have a couple of
adapt.
people in the window just cheering out, having a little bit of fun, but I
Yep.
don't think we'll get any interviews tonight. So that will wrap us up tonight, folks. Thank you for having us here. Thank you for being here and just watching Valpo Esports League of Legends. Sorry, I have them like in the corner of my head. Just like I know they're there. I'm staring at
Uh-huh.
them. But thank you for being here. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for chatting. Uh, and really it just means the world. Watching these kind of streams, watching these kind of just games, so exciting. Love having these series, and it wouldn't be possible without you guys. So thank you so much for coming out. I'm Dekembe,
I'm Mike.
and we'll catch you guys later.